You're a marketing company, you're a sales company, you're a recruiting organization, and a technology company, and you're a leadership company. If you can't get those 5 things down, it doesn't matter what comes next. You're never gonna be successful. Everybody, welcome to the Exit Rich podcast. I have Ninja Systems founder Gene Slade here. He actually was an HVAC tech, high performing tech. Now he owns Ninja Training, where he goes in and you're pretty much HVAC and plumbing. It looks like it doesn't look like you do
HVAC,
anything in a roof.
plumbing, electrical, also built the sales system for largest, residential solar removal and replacement company in the country too. So we also home services really.
All home services,
But
and
my
you
niche
actually
is those 3 trades.
there's 3 trades. And just correct me if I'm wrong here, you actually had an exit yourself for an HVAC company that you sold, correct?
Yeah, it wasn't some of the exits that you see nowadays. It was back in 2014, but yes, I exited my business in 6 years and 1 day from the day that I started it.
But you said it made you a millionaire.
Yes. Yep.
I mean, shit, that's success. Most people never exit one company, let alone
I'll
become a
tell you what,
millionaire.
there was nothing like seeing that first million hit the bank account, you know what I mean? That first time that you see all those zeros, it's like, wow. But then it's like, "Hey, man, I just sold my income, right? So now what am I gonna do?"
Well, I mean, that's the whole thing, right? Like, it's people don't realize that it's I mean, I don't what did you sell for, if you don't mind me asking? I mean, most people will tell.
I've
What did you
sold it
sell
for
for?
just under 2,000,000.
So just under 2,000,000. By the time you pay taxes, you walked with probably 1,000,000.
Yeah.
A little bit, right? A little bit more, right?
Yeah, a little bit
Um,
more.
which but that's life-changing money, and I'm not making light of it, Gene, because people are like, "Oh my god, Lane, you sell all these companies for 30,000,000, 20,000,000." $1,000,000, I said this to someone, free and clear in taxes, meaning just cash. If you can't set your family up for the rest of your life, you are a complete idiot. Like, just a complete idiot. Like, yeah, I'm not being rude, like, you'll have to continue to work, right? But
Yep.
$1,000,000 could pay off. I mean, I think you live in Florida, correct?
Yeah, I live down in the Fort Myers, Naples area.
Alright, so let's just say you bought your house for 700,000. Let's just say you decide to pay it off. That still leaves you $400,000 of liquid cash, or
Right.
300, while you go do something else. If you wanna start a new business, if you want like, when you don't have a mortgage, life gets a lot easier.
Yeah, big time. Big time.
Like, I say it to people all the time, it's life changing. Do you have kids?
I have 6 boys.
Jesus Lord, do you ever pull your pants up, man?
My partner has 17 kids with the same woman, no twins. So I
Wait,
thought I was doing good, but he's
hold on. I gotta dive into this. I gotta dive into this. So 2 key things you just said here. You got 6 boys,
Mhm.
okay? You used the word partner, where I'm assuming you're gay now.
No, 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 I'm talking about one of my business partners.
Okay. Alright, I mean, I just heard the word I'm trying to be politically correct here, man. I'm just trying to be politically correct.
Yeah.
Like, I hear the word partner, I got told now when someone says partner, it means you're gay. I'm like, "Okay, I get it." Like, I'm not here to judge anyone.
Me
They're like,
neither.
"Well, they got 17 kids. That gives you a household of 23 kids." I was gonna say, "Yeah, that $1,000,000 ain't going far."
Yeah, it's not gonna yeah, even the house that I'm in right now wouldn't do, for sure.
Jesus Lord.
I'm in a
So one of
six-bedroom,
your
three-bath, I need 2 of these things.
Mhm. So one of your business partners actually has 17 kids.
Yeah, yeah, 17, same man and woman, no twins. So, I mean, wild, absolutely wild, and they all work in the business too, which is incredible. I mean, he sent me a picture the other day of his 10-year-old and we can't share that stuff on social media, right? But his 10-year-old with a torch, brazing in a system. So he
Oh,
teaches
yeah.
them really, really young.
So let's talk about this. You sell your company, right? You become a millionaire. What do you do next? I mean, which is great. You sold your company, you got money, you secured your family. What comes next in your world? Because right now you're training. I see you training a lot of different people. It seems like you're one of the lead trainers for HVAC sales in the country. Um, that's still it has to be a choppy business because you got to be in and out. You're on the road. I'm assuming a lot. Is that correct?
I'm not on the road a lot. I keep my prices pretty high so that I only have to travel maybe on average once a month. And wherever I go, my wife works with me as well. So we can go and stay wherever we need to stay. We've got a full-time nanny, so the kids can come with us if we want. So It's not that we're really restricted. I got all these kids and I really want to be home. I want to be near my family. And I don't really like for years I did the circuit on the road, but um now we have situations where people are coming to us, right? We'll either rent out a huge mansion and stay in a mansion with them for a few days and train them, or we'll bring them to an auditorium or something, or a theater, and we'll have a couple hundred people come in. So most of the time, people are coming to us now, and then obviously we've got the online training schools and stuff like that. So, but all of that really came out of the first air conditioning company. And you were talking about marketing. We started as a marketing company, and that was because I had a radio show on conservative talk radio. You've heard of the Rush Limbaughs and Sean Hannity's and all them, right? So I had like 10 or 12 shows a weekend, and I would drag in like 2,000 new customers a year for my business towards the end. And 5, 6 months later, I'm sitting there with a non-compete. I've got room,
Cool, so
not
you
going
had
anywhere.
you had a political show that actually
Yep.
brought in
Yeah, we talked about
bring
maintenance. We talked about air conditioning. We talked about the pitfalls of doing business with certain types of contractors, what people should look for. And then about 5 times an
on a
hour.
political show? On a like, so you had
Yeah,
a
yeah.
Sean Han
So
I'm just
those
trying
shows
to put it
those
together, so you're
those shows
Sean
sell you
Hannity
airtime. It's called block
is
programming
tell
on the
you
weekend. Have you heard
they
of
sell
block
you airtime.
programming?
I know block program is kind of I'll be honest with you, that's not my forte, the television
Sure.
market, but I'm a
So
digital marketer by trade, so explain it to our audience so I know. Because do they
so
still do this, by the way? I'm just
They
curious.
do. They do.
Okay.
It's just not as effective as it used to be because a lot of the audience has gone digital, right? So they'll
Yeah.
sell you a half an hour or an hour on the weekends when they don't have regular programming, those syndicated shows. They'll sell you a half an hour to an hour, and you can get on there and talk about whatever you want, so long as it is gonna benefit the community and it's not going to drop ratings. So I started my company with a 2-hour radio show where every 8, 9 minutes or so, maybe 10 minutes, I would give them a call to action, and I would give them free tune-ups. I actually did free tune-ups for the first 2 years of my business. Never charged
I know, but
anybody an upfront fee.
I'm just trying to think this through here. For 2 hours on the radio, you're talking about HVAC. Who the hell's
Yes.
listening to that?
A lot of
Like, I'm not
people,
being
believe it or not.
rude, like,
Yeah.
who's li if we're talking about Trump and bashing Trump, bashing Biden, bashing Kamala Harris and her cackle, and now we're going to, "Hey, let's talk about 2 hours about your condenser." I just don't see how people are gonna tune in for that.
These they're an interesting type of people. Like, that was their show or that was their station, and whenever the radio turned on, that was what they would listen to. So it didn't really matter what it was. A lot of times it was in the background. So much so that one of the guys from my church said, "Hey, man, how do you talk about air conditioning every single week? Like, how do you keep making new stuff up?" And I was like, "Dude, it's the same show." He's like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "It's the same fucking show." He has to go listen to it. And he listened to it the next week. He was like, "I can't believe it actually is the same show."
This is
That
wild. Like, I've had a lot of guests on my show, but this is wild. Like, this is wild. Like, I've never had anyone said, "Yeah, man, I went and rented airtime. We were talked about HVAC for 2 hours straight." I mean, and you said you produced your 2,000 leads a year, right?
yeah. Yeah,
So they're
I
telling
did
you,
about
also,
40, 40 customers a week.
what did they charge you, if you don't mind me asking, for airtime? It can't be that much.
Oh,
5, 10 grand?
it on a station like in Tampa Bay, you could pay 3, $4,000 for the hour. At some of the real
That's still
cheap
only that's still only, uh, I
I think
mean,
I paid
2 and a
5
half.
grand in Dallas for an hour. I got 82 leads my first hour in Dallas.
That's $60 a lead.
Yeah, it was cheap. It was chump change. But
Yeah, I mean,
it took the energy until I figured out what the right message was. I spent almost $1,000,000 on radio until I really got a show that hit. And it was almost an accident, and I ended up replaying that show because it did such a great job a couple weeks in a row, and it just kept kicking ass. And so I literally reformatted that show for all the other stations and put it all on the same show, and it just crushed for years. And
so
so,
you understand marketing then. I mean, if you're doing these type do you understand digital marketing pretty well, or is it just you understand old
you know
traditional?
I've learned a lot more about digital marketing in the last 6 months. I know quite a bit about social media marketing, but digital marketing, I really have just begun to learn a lot more about because I have got the new air conditioning company here locally. And I want to be smart when I'm talking to these people. So there's a guy named Jonathan Bannister that just wrote a book called Fuck Digital Marketing. And he sent it to me, wanted me to write the forward for it. So I'm almost done with the book and I've learned so much. I highlighted the shit out of the thing. And that way, at least I know what I'm talking to my people about. And it's made a
I mean,
huge,
fuck
huge
digital
difference.
marketing. He's saying he doesn't believe in digital marketing or he does. I'm just
It,
kind
it
of
re-
curious by that title.
the premise of the book is that without a strong brand, it doesn't matter what you put where, you're still gonna have subpar results, and when you have a really strong brand and really good imaging and you're constantly in people's faces, 15, 17, 18, 20 touch points, that's when you start to get their attention, right? So he's saying, you F digital marketing, you do all the digital marketing you want, but if you don't have the right branding and the right brand story, and if you're not on the right location pages, if you don't have location pages, like it's not gonna work.
You know,
You're gonna get
it's funny
subpar results.
because people will say to me all the time, branding and digital marketing are they're not the same thing, and I argue they are.
Yeah,
Because yes, you gotta have a good brand and you have to have a story to tell,
yep,
right? But if you aren't out there on podcasts, if you ain't on Facebook, if you ain't on Instagram, if you
yeah,
like, you need to have your content everywhere. The content has to make sense. Like you said, you've been following me for 6 months. It made sense to you and you started following me, right? Like,
yep,
well, that's what I hope to do by producing content, but I don't have per se a brand unless you look at my brand and people have different optics of what my brand is to them, right? But I don't
yeah,
go putting out a whole bio of what my brand is, right? Like, and some
sure,
people will. And I think, when people say, "What's your brand?" What's Nike's brand, right? They're really in sports apparel, but when they started out, they were just a running sneaker and it was a swoosh, right? But
right,
through they started getting momentum, that swoosh meant nothing. The yellow arches meant nothing to McDonald's. Like, so like
yeah.
I get why he's writing the book, and I agree you need to have a strong brand, but how you build a strong brand is to have a great, strong digital presence that lets people know your brand.
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%.
I mean,
Um, and
so, like, I'm
and
always
and
curious.
and I'm coming from a place of not knowing digital marketing the way that either one of you know it, right?
Yeah.
But it makes sense what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, I see people have 4 or 5 brands for the same exact company. I'm like, "No, you're just an idiot." Like, you're just an idiot, right? There's no reason to have 4
What
or
do you
5
mean 4 or
brands.
5
That
brands for the same
you'll
company?
see someone call themselves Top Roofing, uh, Marlton Roofing, Jacob Roofing, and Lance's Roofing. All 4 different brands, 4 different websites, 4 different all for the same exact company, and they use it as a lead gen. Well, okay,
Uh,
now I'm spending all this money on these 4 different places,
yeah,
but I'm building no brand equity, right? And I think that's wrong. Like, I wanna build brand equity, brand consistency. I want people to know my brand, remember my brand, refer my brand, and the more I pump dollars into one brand, the faster it is to remember and scale, in my opinion. This is my opinion, right?
oh, no, I couldn't agree more. I mean, talk about chaos and making things complicated. I'm 100% in for putting all your money into that one brand.
So tell me, how do you get clients now? Tell me how you get clients now to come down to Florida to train, because that's almost different than most training companies.
Well,
Most training companies go to locations, on sites.
so it starts with putting out an incredible amount of content, in my opinion. Like, we're at a place now where we're producing at least 3 reels a day for the company. They're in all of the different social media platforms that you could be on, with exception really of X. We don't really mess with X, but all the other stuff that you would think we're definitely on. Um, but really, it's been 10 years or so that I've just given back, Lance. I just share what I know, and I stay on social media consistently. And over the last year and a half or so, we've begun to put money behind all that, and that's really it's added a lot of fuel to the fire. So most of what we get is people reaching out to us via text message or via messenger on a daily basis, just asking when is the next training or what do you guys have available or do you have online training? So we haven't done a phenomenal job of marketing our business. Um, that being said, like you said, I would say that we're the most recognizable, if not the top 2 most recognizable training companies for HVAC and plumbing in the country.
Who
So
would
it's
you
it
say is your biggest competitor?
I don't think anybody can do what I do, man, like,
I don't
anybody.
know if you had to say someone, you said you're one of the most
Yeah.
recognizable.
That
Who
being
is?
said, I would say probably the other person who is more recognizable than anybody would probably be Victor Rancor.
My buddy Victor.
Yeah, I know that you and I have both spoken at some of his events, but he's a really, really good marketer. You know what I mean? And so
Oh, yeah,
it's
he's a good
it's not
marketer.
the best no it's not the best that wins, it's the best known that wins.
Hey everyone, thank you for joining us today. I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors, Service Titan and Rilla, our technology of choice to helping us scale and grow our business and making sure all of our viewers have the technology to scale their business so when they want to sell it, they're able to. That's a fact. I mean, like, listen, you can have the hottest girl in the world if you keep her at home all day long, no one's seen her, no one knows you have a hot woman. Like, right? Like, it's just that
Yeah.
simple. Like, the you're a marketing organization first. When you
Mhm.
understand that, life gets easier. You're a marketing company, you're a sales company, you're a recruiting organization, and a technology company, and you're a leadership company. If you can't get those 5 things down, it doesn't matter what comes next. You're never gonna be successful. And
Say those
Victor,
again. Say those again, 'cause I think people missed it. I know I missed a couple of them 'cause I just got stuck on technology. One more time.
you're a marketing company,
For sure.
you're a sales organization company, you're a recruiting company. You always gotta be recruiting the best in class, best people, right?
Yep.
You're a technology company, and you're a leadership company. You have to constantly implement technology, upgrade your technology, look at the best that's out there to
100%.
make people's jobs easier, and leadership. If you aren't constantly preaching leadership, walking the walk, talking the walk, if you don't do what you say you're gonna do, people won't follow you. You know, if I was out the bars every night drinking still, people wouldn't follow me. If I was out being a maniac still, people wouldn't follow me, right? It's
Right.
you have to if you every decision you make will get a reaction, and you better make sure you're getting the right reactions as a leader, you know? And I just say to people all the time, I mean, I think that's the biggest 5 things people don't realize they are. People be like, "I'm in a sales training organization." No, you're not.
Yeah.
That's the widget of what you do.
Right.
These 5 other things you are, because if you wanna scale, and, it's funny, some guy left a comment on my Facebook page, "Get back down to reality. Not everybody wants to scale and grow their company and make millions of dollars." Number 1, I don't believe that. I believe the majority of people do wanna scale and grow their company and be a millionaire. I think most people in America would like to have millions of dollars.
Even if they say they
I
don't.
don't. I I think people say they don't because they know they can't figure out how to get there,
Yeah.
right? Right, but I think if I handed anyone $10,000,000, they wouldn't say no.
Nope.
We agree to that, right?
I
So
agree.
so most so most people just don't wanna put the work in to get it, or they don't know how to put the work in and get it, right?
For sure.
So he's like, "Come back to reality. Not everybody wants to do this. You're making fun of power washing people." And I'm like, "I'm not making fun of power washing people. I'm just saying if you're gonna scale an organization, time is pure mathematics, everything's time."
Yeah.
Most people don't understand that. When you're a sales training organization like you're selling time. It's all you're selling.
100%.
You have nothing else to sell. Like, that's and people don't realize that. They're paying for your time. How many people are in your organization?
In
How many?
in my organization, including VAs, probably 15 people.
Just the people that are actually training. Virtual assistants aren't training people, really. So,
No, 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 people that actually do training for my company.
yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 4 people.
So you have 4 people that you're really selling their time.
Mhm.
So really what you have to do with those 4 people to really grow your brand is to brand all them, right? Right?
Yep.
Market them. Then you have to sell because you have to get people to sign the agreements. You are a sales guy. People, when they come to you, they wanna know what it costs, what it looks like, what they're
For
getting,
sure.
right? Right? Then what
Yep.
I don't know what technology you're on, but I'm sure you're on some type of CRM. What technology are you on?
We're on Go High Level.
Alright, great technology. We use Go High Level ourselves for some things, right? Then you're constantly I'm sure you don't wanna just stay at 4 recruiters, do you?
Oh, absolutely not.
So you're
No,
constantly
you gotta build
recruiting.
systems and
You're always
processes
training
in order to
trainers
train them
out
how to do that, right?
So you're recruiting now, you're constantly recruiting, and it's gonna come down to your leadership, how far you grow. Like, so every organization is the same thing.
One of the cool things that has happened, and I didn't necessarily see it happening, but all of the guys that I've trained over the last 10 years, there's, you know, phenomenal life-changing stories, and now those guys are ending up becoming some of the people that are going out there and doing that, right? Or they're deciding to become people that go into business with me in some of my other organizations, right? So, I mean, those relationships are the biggest difference from 10 years ago, nobody knowing who the hell I was other than locally. Like, I didn't realize how important those relationships were going to be for the future. And
Oh,
I think that's one thing we
relationships are
missed.
everything.
We
Well,
missed that, right?
most people don't talk about relationships, Gene, and most people think only of today, only of today. Like, so I'm going through something right now where these people are making decisions based on the next 2, 3 years, and I'm like, "I'll be with you for the next 10 years."
Yeah,
I'm like, the decision-making process, well, it just goes to show you their mom and dads have never sat down and said, "Relationships are important, you're gonna go through difficult times, make sure you
right.
communicate, make sure." And you can see how people handle situations of, are they ever gonna be success it's like, people define success in multiple different ways. I look at success of doing the right thing, being a member of the community. Not everyone's meant to be a millionaire, right? Like, it's just not it.
Sure.
Here's a question for you. You get these people down there, what's the biggest thing you think most organizations in the HVAC, plumbing, and electrical are missing in their training programs? Why do so many companies not grow? I mean, a lot of companies get stuck at that 2,000,000 mark, 3,000,000 mark. I don't have to tell you, and they never punch through the ceiling. Can you tell people why?
Most of what I've seen is that they don't have a training program, or that they go from frying pan to frying pan to frying pan, from training program to training program, never really having a system of accountability or really expecting knowing what to expect from those guys out of the training, because the training is mostly scattered. Like, I've been to sales training sessions where they were asking me to write my own scripts for products that they were shoving in my face, and I had no freaking clue. I was like, I just want to learn what people have said that has been successful in the past. Can you tell me that? Right? So that's the biggest thing, is that they don't have a consistent sales training program. They'll spend money on marketing. I never got this. You'll spend money to get customers through the door, but not to train your people how to communicate with them properly. And when you do, you end up having 5 to 10x the results. Makes no sense to me whatsoever. So that's one of the challenges that we have to deal with in getting them to realize that they do need to have a budget for this stuff, and it needs to be consistent. You need to have somebody out there that will help us to hold the people accountable if they're not doing the work that they're supposed to do. I mean, and it's all laid out what you've got to do for the first 60 or 90 or 120 days, like item by item. It's super simple, but people, a lot of them too, are hiring people that don't, like you were saying earlier, they're not motivated. They're not hungry. They're not humble. And if they're not hungry and humble, it's gonna be really difficult for them to get training from you. So,
It's funny, you'll talk to I see people get trained, and someone said something to me the other day. Every time I coach him or I talk to him, he listens, and then he comes back with the "but."
yeah,
I'm like, "Well, it's usually at the but." He's telling you, "I listen to you, but I don't agree with you, and this is why I'm gonna continue to do what I do."
yeah.
Like, and I'm like, he's like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, Every time you talk to someone, you say, listen, hey, do it this way, or do this." And they listen to you, they say, "Yeah, I got you. I'm good. But I think this, or I think this, or this is why I'm doing this." They're justifying in their head why they're going to continue to do it that way. And like,
Y
can you talk
Yep.
about that? Because a lot of people do training, but they don't hold people to the training that's to be done.
And managers are really, a lot of times, they're not very good salespeople themselves, and in order to get somebody to come along with your culture and row in the same direction, you've gotta be able to sell them on why they should do it, or get them to come to the preferably, get them to come to their own conclusion that this is actually right for them, the company, and everybody, right? If I can get them to come to their own conclusion by asking them questions instead of preaching at them, man, their minds begin to open up. And I can control what they're thinking with the questions that I ask. So I think it's also a lack of skill, like you said, in one of the 5 areas that you talked about, and that's leadership, man. So
You
I'm
know,
trying to be a better leader myself.
there you go.
I'm nowhere near where I want to be.
Here's a question for you. You go in, and because I'm assuming part of your training is, are you just doing straight sales training, or are you going in and evaluating the company for people and saying, this is where I see the breakdowns in your organization. Which one is it? I'm just curious.
No, well, I really
It's like,
stick to that sales side of the business more. And some of that Lance, is because the last 10 years I have been out of the game and technology has changed. So a lot of those services will be coming as I sharpen my sword.
are you familiar? I mean, I'm assuming your number one CRM that you recommend to people is Service Titan. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm just assuming it is.
It doesn't really matter to me. I mean, Service Titan is fine. I like House Call Pro too. It just depends on what people are trying to accomplish and how deep they're going to go. If they're going to go deep, duh, Service Titan's the way to go.
I mean, I just don't think how could you win without using I'm not listen, I don't own Service Titan. I own some of their stock,
I don't
but
know, man.
I got no dog in the fight. I'm like, how can you have you seen a 30 or $40 million shop on House Call Pro? I'm just curious, have you? Because I haven't.
No, I have not. I have not. I've seen them on their own CRMs. I've seen them on Service Titan, and I've seen back in the day. Well, some people still have success where, believe it or not, crazy. Uh,
Their CEO just left. What's his name? The old CEO? Greg? What was his name?
I don't remember.
Success there. He just left. He just left. Um, you know, when and I don't wanna take up too much of your time here. What do you think salespeople's number one problem is? Because in most organizations, you'll see 80% of the sales sold by 2 or 3 people,
Yeah.
and then they're constantly rotating the other people, and it's just a shit sandwich. What do you think the issue is with most salespeople, and why can't they sell? And I have a lot of different opinions. I'm just curious to what yours is.
I think it's multiple reasons. I think sometimes they psych themselves out. Like I have a process that I have them go through, where before they go in to present, 30 times in their head, they close their eyes and they start saying, "Everybody trusts me, everybody buys from me, everybody trusts me, everybody buys from me." We start to build new dendrites, new neural pathways for them if they're saying that 80, 100 times a day, and it helps to really, really increase their confidence. So that's number one. Number two, they just don't know what the hell to say. If somebody says your price is too high or somebody got one $6,000, cheaper, they have no clue how to sell the company. They're trying to sell boxes. And if when you try to sell a carrier, somebody's just going to go down the street and get a carrier cheaper than what you're offering it for. You have to sell the company, and nobody knows how to communicate what the features of the company are and why the client should give a shit, right? You have to make people feel good about buying from you. And you do that by painting that picture. Now, the other reason, last reason, is that they don't know how to establish a need. There's no sense of urgency because they don't know how to ask the right questions with the clients. And nobody knows, like, what they do at these companies is they give you a product. They have a product rep come in, give you a speech on how the product works, and then they ask you to go sell it, but they never teach you how to get the client to actually want what it is that you're offering, or how to stimulate the pain of not having it or the pain of the situation that they're in right now. The training sucks, Lance. I've been to
You
almost
know,
all of the trainings. It sucks.
I do agree with you. The trainings, I mean, we have in-house trainers for my companies for that reason, because I believe you need to have a training program. It's funny. I saw an old McKinsey report. I think it was McKinsey I read about 2 years ago, and it blew my mind. It said 71% of the salespeople in most organizations don't even believe in the organization that they work for, the pricing, or the product.
Nope.
And I was like, holy Lord, what percent?
Yep.
71%. I was like, wow. I was like, that is
Everywhere I go.
insane. Because I was like, but it makes sense when you take that 71% doesn't believe, and then you start looking at your own internal stats, and you're like, I better start training people on who we are, what we do, explain to them why we're priced the way we're priced for
Exactly.
our community, like all these things. Because if we don't do that, they just make the assumption of we're overcharging people because they
Yep.
don't understand you got to pay for insurance, cars, vehicles, 401(k), blah, 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 right? They don't
Yeah.
understand any of that stuff because that's not what they do,
Right.
right? That's not what they do. They're just going out and they just saying, "Hey, we bought this unit for 4 grand, or we're
Yeah.
charging 12 grand." Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I got to pay you. I got to pay for your truck, your gas, insurance. They just so they don't have belief. And if you don't
Yeah.
believe in yourself and what you're selling, there's no way you can translate that and communicate that to a customer, in my opinion.
Right.
I
We
mean,
did training 5 days a week, Lance. 5 days a week. every single day, except for sometimes we got really, really hot in the summertime, sometimes we back off to 4 days. But it was a part of the culture of the company. We were a training company, and if you're not constantly training your people, you're gonna be disappointed with your people.
Here's a question for you. What's the biggest mistake you made training people? Like you're like, "Man, like, I shouldn't have trained on this. I should have did something different in your own organization." Because, like, when you believe in training so much, I always say you could do too much training to where you train so much, you break people, right? Like, it's like, "Oh my god," again and again and again. They don't understand the benefit of it. And I believe if you train at the right amount, you're gonna get peak performance out of people.
You know, I have never reflected on the biggest training mistake that I've ever made, and, I'm
Well, right now is a good time, go.
yeah, I don't want to be I don't wanna be cocky or arrogant or anything like that to say that it's hard to think of something, but I think it would probably have to do with something in the area of leadership. I recently read John Maxwell's, I think it's 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, and
Well,
what if there was one thing in that book that makes me think about, or the question that you asked me makes me think, is that a lot of times I would ask people to do something, and then when they wouldn't do it, I might ask them another time or another time after that, but after a while, I'd stop asking and I'd just get pissed. And John says that it's our job as leaders to remind people or to put processes in place that will remind them until they freaking remember. It's our job as the coach, right? They're the player and I'm the coach. So setting up better processes like that, and being more patient with people. Sometimes I also don't understand people because I thought in the beginning everybody wanted what I wanted. Uh, I didn't understand why somebody wouldn't leave their house on a Sunday for 2 hours to go make 2 grand. Um, but it just turns out that some folks are different, right? And they've got different goals and dreams. And I think I would have dug deeper in my first company into what those dreams and goals were for those people. So I think leadership is, believe it or not, and that's the worst thing for me to say to myself right now. I could have been a better leader. So I want to be a,
yeah,
I mean,
look,
I
take
wanna be
fellow with
a
being
great leader, but
truthful.
not,
Nothing wrong with being
I
truthful.
don't know.
Like, why not be truthful? There's so many people out there so arrogant they would never give that answer. I can appreciate it. Most people would have came with like a bullshit thing. Like, I rolled out this technology one time. You came up with a truthful, heartfelt answer. Like,
Mhm.
that's what you're supposed to do when you're trying to help people. You know, Last question for you, because I don't want to bother you. What's next for Lead Ninjas? Like, what's next for your organization? Like, what's next for, you know, you guys built a nice little organization with 4 trainers. You know, we know who you are. Everyone at HVAC Space knows who you are. What's next for you guys?
That's a great question, man. Uh, a lot of my focus and attention is going to be on building some more home service companies. I've got
Ooh, you are. Let's go, baby.
one more. Yeah, what was I gonna say? Shit. So there was something else that popped into my head right there, and
You
I
got
have
one more
so many
going
things.
you. You got one more going
I know what
you.
it was. I know what it was. So the next big thing for Lead Ninja outside of me partnering with home service businesses and growing and scaling them so that we can exit them is going to be something I learned from Alex Hormozy and his grand slam offer that he had. I want to go into companies, 7 companies in the next 12 months, and I want to help them to raise their average tickets, and I don't wanna charge them a dime up front. I just want a piece of the increase, a small piece of the increase, and they'll be taking home at least twice as many net dollars to the bank account. So that's really the next thing that we're really trying to focus on. I wanna, you know, take 7 companies and do that, and then let's look at maybe taking another 7 companies and doing that as well. Because I think that if I can get in there with 0 risk to the client and 100% upside, I know our systems work. I've got the ninjas that are already trained to bounce in and out of companies around the country. I've got the 5, 6, $7 million guys that are just waiting to help other people because they used to be homeless, or they were in prison, or they were a heroin addict, and somebody reached a hand down and pulled them the fuck up. Right? So,
No doubt.
really what I'm gonna be focused on other than building the home service companies.
Well, we look forward to watching your show, your journey. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. If somebody wants to get in touch with you, Gene, how do they get in touch with you?
You just Google my name, Gene Slade, or go at Gene Slade anywhere on social media. You should be able to find me. If you can't find me in a Google search, something is wrong. Google's broken.
All right. Well, I appreciate you being on the show. Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you soon, my friend.
I look forward to coming out and doing a shop tour with you, man. I think everybody should.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, Lance.